Brian brought in the studio a story from, what is this, Yahoo? Is that where we got this,
Yes,
Brian? From Yahoo. It says, I recently asked Shane and Jennifer Herrin of Moberly, Missouri, a husband and wife paranormal investigation team, about some of their views and experiences with the paranormal. They are the lone members of their small town haunts. They choose to keep it this way because they both have the same passion, vision, and commitment for the organization. We've been interested in the paranormal since we were young. Both of us having experiences we couldn't explain, Shane says. The experiences include Jennifer seeing a ghost at the age of 5. We created Small Town Haunts in February of 2012. Shane considers one of his most exciting experiences to be while investigating Missouri State Penitentiary. He was alone on the 3rd level of a housing unit in an empty cell. Suddenly, he started hearing the sound of paint chips being crunched as footsteps started approaching the cell, getting louder with each step, stopping at the door of the cell. However, no one was standing at the door or anywhere on the entire floor. Jennifer considers her most intriguing experience to have occurred at the Charles Lotter House in Moberly. While she and Shane were conducting an EVP session on the staircase, an apparition appeared between the two of them. The owners consider the apparition to be the ghost of the Lotter family dog, which they have also witnessed running through the house. The Lotters built the house in the 1890s. Both passed away in the house. Now, I'm not convinced that ghosts even exist, though several friends of mine, a couple of very good friends of mine, do believe in ghosts. And it turns out that Jennifer works right here at Zimmer Radio. So I went in the back and I got her. Hey, how are you?
I'm good, Gary. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. You got to get a little bit closer.
Okay.
You don't normally work on air, so you're kind of a behind-the-scenes person making it happen.
Absolutely.
So you saw a ghost at the age of 5.
Yes.
And you know it wasn't a hallucination. 5-year-olds' minds, they can conjure up all kinds of things.
Yes.
I can remember believing that I saw a small man walking across the wallpaper of my house when I was a kid in my bedroom. I never saw it again. Haven't seen it since. Clearly it was, something else, just a shadow, and I mistook it. But you're confident it was a ghost?
Absolutely.
Why?
Just the full apparition of a woman in a dress. It was something that I've never forgotten since.
3-dimensional? 1-dimensional?
Just, you could kind of sort of see through her. So she was slightly transparent and just was not supposed to be there.
Kind of like a Republican.
Well,
a little transparent. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. All right. So, and your husband has seen, he heard a ghost.
Yes.
Okay, so now what do you do? What is this EVP thing, or EMP? What is it you're looking for, EVP?
Well, we try to communicate with the spirits. Our main goal is to help the homeowners or the business owners find out answers. We're not going to exorcise anything from the house or anything, but we do try to find out why they're there, what's going on. And an EVP session is where you record a conversation where you're asking questions, and subsequently you sometimes get answers and find out the answers.
You mean you actually hear voices? Somebody says, because the $50 million in gold coins is behind the bookcase.
Well, I have yet to hear that one. That would be nice to hear, though. I'm sure the homeowners would appreciate that. But we also do EVP sessions. We also have a device called a spirit box, which uses radio frequencies to better help the spirits communicate back with us. And we've got voices and answers and names.
You sure you're not picking up a radio signal from the Eagle or something?
Absolutely.
How do you know that? I mean,
you can. There's actually.
Is this more dependable than that 8-ball I used to have as a kid that I would
yes
that I would rattle around?
Yes.
So what kind of questions do you ask these spirits?
A lot of the time it's the names. Why are you here? Why are you doing certain things to the homeowners?
Now, give me an answer that you've heard. Tell me a question you asked a spirit and give me the answer you got back.
Well, for instance, at the Charles Lauder House in Moberly, we were trying to find out for the homeowners if it was the original owners of the house that were haunting. They've seen both the mother, the father, their children were seeing the child, one of the children that lived there. And so we were trying to hit pretty hard on what's your name, yada yada, and we caught the name Anna, which was Charles's wife when they built the house.
So you actually have a recording of a spirit saying Anna?
Yes.
And was it a girl or a woman's voice?
Yes.
And did you ask why it was haunting?
We tried. We didn't really get an answer as to that. Their main issue was anytime they were working on the house, it would stir things up. They had a water leak. Ghost in the basement is laughing at them as he's standing knee deep in water. But more activity would occur when they were working on the house. So we were trying to find answers. And then we tried to tell the spirits they're only trying to upkeep your house, to keep it in its pristine condition, the way you wanted it left, and to not let it fall into ruin. So hopefully to tone down the spirits not being happy when renovations were
And did it
occurring.
happen? Did it work? Did they stop bothering them?
It's better.
It's better, but they didn't. They're recalcitrant, obstinate, and they're not paying attention. They're not listening. And out of that, how much time did you spend in the house?
We do an initial investigation where we ask questions, take some pictures, decide where we're going to set up at, and then for the investigation, it's usually anywhere from 4 to 5 hours after we're set up.
So you spent 4 to 5 hours, and you got Anna. Mm-hmm. That's all you got for 4.5, 5 hours?
Oh, no.
No, you got more.
Tons. We've got interesting light anomalies. That was also the same house we saw. But
they can only manage one word? Just a proper noun, that's it.
That one, for that spirit box session, yes.
Have you ever encountered any angry spirits or any people or ghosts that seem to want you to get out?
We're currently reviewing some evidence from a location we visited recently in Macon, Missouri. They were having issues with shadow figures, a spirit of an older man. There was a death of a boy a couple houses down. We're still reviewing the evidence.
A boy dies 2 houses down, and it's their house that's haunted?
It's actually their house, the neighbor's house. We're both haunted. Now, we haven't contacted the neighbors to see if they would be interested in an investigation yet, but it kind of affects that area.
What would it cost? What would you charge me to come?
We do not charge. We're just
charge.
out there to help people get some answers. We're non-for-profit. We don't believe in charging to go investigate somebody's house. We're just there to help people.
And it's kind of a challenge for you, sort of fun.
It is. It is. It's hard work. It's a lot, when you're reviewing about 30 hours of video and another 15 hours of audio from one night. It's very challenging.
Do you ever hold a seance or anything like that?
No.
No?
No Ouija boards, no seance.
No.
We're not there to make things worse.
So there's no chance you could reach out to Lee Harvey Oswald and ask him if he really shot JFK or anything like that?
Probably not here, no.
No. All right. So if somebody is listening to us right now and they think their home is haunted and they want you and your husband to come out and investigate that, do you guys have a website?
We do. We have smalltownhaunts.com, and we also have a pretty active Facebook page, just facebook.com/smalltownhaunts. And once we get done reviewing this evidence, we'll be posting up the pictures that we've caught and the audio and everything else.
Have there seen furniture flying, or have you seen any of that sort of thing?
We haven't. That has been some complaints of some of the homes we've investigated. For instance, a work light being kind of kicked off the ground and shattering against a wall. This most recent house with the shadow people, it at one time removed a baby out of a crib. So we're really doing an in-depth investigation on this one.
If I give you a hint and it turns out that it makes you a ton of money, would you share?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. From now on in, every time you go to one of these homes, I want you to ask the dearly departed where they hid the money.
Okay.
And if one of them says it's under the floorboard in the library, and you find the money, I want you to share it with me.
Absolutely.
I mean, that seems fair because I'm giving you the idea. You're going to ask all the pertinent questions and then throw that in.
Right.
But do they ever speak in complete sentences?
Not usually. You just usually get a word or two.
Any idea why they can't communicate in... I mean, is there...
It takes a lot of energy to do so. My belief is some are maybe have been ghosts longer and have tried to communicate more, so they would have more strength to pull from. It also kind of depends on what is going on electrically in the house. They have devices like EM pumps and stuff to really get the energy going. And
electromagnetic EM, is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm. And really get the energy going so they can use that to communicate.
You don't drive a white 1960 Cadillac station wagon, do you?
No, I do not.
I'm just checking to see, because you remember Ghostbusters, Brian? They had the big white... all right, so...
I got a question for Jennifer. You don't consider yourself to be a psychic, right?
No.
But when you go in an older structure like these houses that you investigate, do you get like a feeling as soon as you walk in, it's like there's something going on here?
Cold or the hair on your hands stands?
Yes. We call that, just between ourselves, it's not an official term, but we call it getting lit up. You'll feel you can be in a house for however long, and then when something passes by you or gets near, or they're working up that energy, the hair all over your body will stand up, and you'll almost tingle. It's so much current, like running through your body.
And that's called what?
We call it getting lit up.
Because I got a bar back in Cleveland. I do it to people all the time. Boy, that one's really lit up. All right, let me see. Chris wants to ask you a question. I'll do that. Chris, welcome. Glad to have you on the Gary Nolan Show.
Good morning. I was wondering if Jennifer and her husband are looking for help in investigations or people to join them in investigations and the work involved.
Well, we do prefer it to be just ourselves. We were with a group in the past with some shoddy skills, and just, everything was a ghost, every fleck of dust, and we kind of agreed amongst ourselves for it to just be us. Now, there's been a lot of talk. We've had a lot of friends that are very interested in it, and there's been talk about possibly having an occasion where we could bring people in. But for the most part, when we investigate, it's just the two of us. That way there's less contamination. Somebody's not walking on another floor, and you think it's footsteps from the other side.
Okay.
All right.
Would we be able to make suggestions for potential hotspots on your Facebook page?
Absolutely. You can definitely message us or post on our Facebook page, or we also have a contact form on the smalltownhaunts.com website.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Chris, thank you. All right, now, could I just go with you with a tape recorder? I would stay right behind you. In fact, if I heard a noise and didn't see somebody, I would be like climbing over you. You'd be carrying me on your shoulders.
Well, you can't, you're more than welcome to come. You can't go running off when something happens, because that's when you really work harder and try to find out what's going on.
You don't want to scare the ghosts away.
Well, just my face might cause that to happen. But, like if I scream at, like, say, 8,000 decibels, would that drive the ghost away?
It very well could.
So I have to be quiet, too.
Yes,
quiet as a mouse and
quiet.
Follow you around and hold my tape recorder. Because I want to do this.
Yes.
Because I'm not a believer. And I think there's some other explanation. I don't believe that you're being dishonest. I believe you're being honest. Mm-hmm. But I keep thinking, well, there's got to be some other explanation.
You kind of have to. Once you see it, then you're a believer.
Let's see if Sean's a believer. Sean, welcome. Glad to have you on the Gary Nolan Show. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. You believe in ghosts?
I don't know if I believe in ghosts or if I believe in demons. I just caught the tail end of you guys talking about shadow people. And I just wondered if she knows much about shadow people and what she's learned about shadow people.
Go ahead.
Okay. This was our first encounter with a shadow person during an investigation. Because of such, we did research, and I'm in contact with somebody who really knows about shadow people, but there are many different types. What I found to be extremely interesting about this type of shadow person, which they were seeing red eyes, was that...
Now there must be a ghost in town, because hair in my arm just...
But what we found to be extremely interesting was that there's certain types of shadow people that can actually almost haunt a family through generations. And due to the problems that this girl's having, her sister's also having the same problems across town. We believe that to be of this type.
Well, the reason I ask is because I saw a shadow person when I was probably about 14. I lived on a farm, and I was taking the trash out, which required me to walk pretty far across our yard. And I saw one walking down the road, and it turned and waved at me. And, you know, as a kid, it just freaked me out. But what was interesting about it is that it's very tall and didn't seem menacing. It just scared me because I saw something. But I did some reading, and some of the shadow people that a lot of people see actually have almost like a hat on their head.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what I saw. And so I was just interested. It seems like they are kind of, from what I've read, they are actually able to do things that most ghosts can't do, which... All right, removing a baby from a bed is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it sounds pretty crazy to me. I gotta take a quick break here. Sean, thank you for the call. Glad to have you on the Gary Nolan Show. I want to learn a little more about the shadow people. We're going to come back. We're going to wrap it up. Jennifer Herrin, Ghostbusters. Gary Nolan Show, Zimmer Radio Network.
This is the Gary Nolan Show.
I never expected the program to take this twist, but Jennifer Herrin, who works with us here at the Zimmer Radio Network, she and her husband investigate paranoid.
What is that?
Paranoid. That's oil that's in 2 drops. You have a paranoid. Paranormal hauntings, things like that. Before I go back to the phones, what is the shadow spirit thing? Are they evil?
They're considered to be evil. The different types of shadow figures have kind of different variances on how evil they are.
Now, am I tempting fate by saying, I don't believe you? Are they suddenly going to come over to the house and start... No. They don't listen to talk radio, do they?
Well, no. Not that I know of.
All right, just want to make sure. All right, Greg, welcome. Glad to have you on the Gary Nolan Show. You're on with Jennifer Herrin.
Hi. I was just curious. I know you mentioned earlier that maybe they can haunt some families or stuff like that. Are they, when I think of a ghost, I think of something that's kind of attached to a house or something like that, an old house. I was living in a house that was probably built in the 60s, and I had something floating across the ceiling in my bedroom. And it was a, kind of a Grim Reaper type thing with the hood. But it was, for some way I could tell it was female, but it just kind of made a semicircle around my bed and back. I did live in it's not an old haunted house. And my buddy of mine that I ran around with at the time, he, in the next few days, he said, hey, I had this weird dream the other night. And I said, well, tell me, because I've got something I'll tell you. And he had the exact same experience.
Wow.
All right, let me do this, because we're up against the clock here. Give them your website again.
Okay.
And then they can communicate with you without using spirits.
Okay. The website is www.smalltownhaunts.com. And then they can also reach us on our Facebook page. Just look up Small Town Haunts. And we're located in Moberly, Missouri.
smalltownhaunts.com. All right. Thank you for the call, Greg. Glad to have you on the Gary Nolan Show. And Jennifer, thank you so much. Would you do me a favor and get back to work?
I mean,
does the boss know that you're sitting in here talking to me?
I hope not.
Well,
she's on vacation.
Oh, all right.
I'm good.
There we go.